Well, Jesters Court, it has happened. The second round of the playoffs are behind us. We're talking, of course, of our 2021-2022 13th season of high school Jesters playoffs. And 16 teams have played their hearts out at Chaparral High School. Thank you, Chap, for hosting the third time this year. Love that school. Can't wait to have you back. But the 16 teams battled it out at Chaparral today, and now only 8 remain in the hunt for a championship. It is getting heated in high school Jesters land, and here to help break down why the temperature is so high is the man himself, Kopy. Hey, bud. Hey, guys, we're recording this on a Saturday night after all of the games just happened, and Kopy, this is why your energy is especially busting through the screen. Look at you. You look like you've just had, without a shadow of a doubt, the finest day of improvisational comedy you've ever been acquainted with. Tell me yay or nay.
Yay.
Yay!
Don't I look like this every time we record?
You slur all your words every single time, sir. It's great. Hey, man, congratulations. The second round behind us. A beautiful Chaparral school still behind us as well. It's that friendship is maybe the just as good as anything else that's coming out of this year is Mr. English and that Chap faculty. But friends, it's a bittersweet day. We're going to talk about the 8 different matchups we enjoyed and say goodbye to the 8 teams that we do need to say sayonara to after the scores have been tallied and the chips have fallen. But Kopy and I want to reiterate as we jump into this that we are grateful to all 16 teams and those who have already been eliminated as well. This whole league means the world to us. We'd love for there to be every single school holding a trophy, but this is not what the process is about. So we will say a bittersweet goodbye to each of you one by one as we break down the bracket. But first, bud, I'm hearing this, man. This is some swaggy stuff. What do we got in the background here?
So one thing I really like about playoffs is the judges that come through, and most of the judges are all old school players that have been through the league and have experienced a lot in this league and have been judging and whatnot. And I recently had our only 2-time MVP from this Jesters League from back in 2014 and 2015, Cameron Coleman, reach out to me because Cameron Coleman just released an album. An album of music. So
that's crazy.
He's kind of going to underscore here in this video. We're going to link him. If you want to look him up, he is on Spotify, his whole album under Coyote Coleman. And if you just want to know a very special performer, that's exactly who Cameron was. To get the MVP twice is one thing. He won a championship. He was so contagious. He jumped off a stage, energy, charisma, everything you ever wanted in a performer is what Cameron gave you.
Reinvented how we do the games for a while, and still, I mean, he is probably the poster child of inner monologue, if I'm using my recollection. So we still play it like he does. That's just the way it goes.
Absolutely. So I want to help any student that's ever been through this thing, and especially for Cameron. So more than happy to play his music. I thought it was kind of almost right for these videos, how we sitting and chatting. So this music was perfect for it. So Cameron, thank you. If you want to check him out.
We're vibing and crying tonight.
Coyote Coleman.
Yes. Congratulations, Cameron, on putting out the project. I know you work hard on a lot of different creative aspects of your world, and we're glad that any of it still has to do with us. So it's always nice to know you drop by and think of us, and we miss and admire your creativity. If you'll look over Kopy's shoulder, there are 2 images of Cameron side by side doing Cameron stuff. There he is. Yep, thumbs up on both those Cameron photos. Yep, you did great. I think you highlighted it. You make a fantastic Vanna White, my friend. Gotta say, blonde, golden locks, and increasingly aging skin. Anyway, Let's keep on rolling with the fun. And thanks for the vibes, of course, Cameron. It's gonna be a big thing when these 8 teams take the stage next week at Desert Oasis. We want to make sure you guys know that this is the right time to be sitting in our seats, don't we? I mean, this is truly when everybody's sharpening their tool sets to the point where no matter what they're saying it with conviction and confidence. And you're going to see some people step up in ways I don't think we've seen from them so far. So I'm going to be in the audience as much as I can be. We want you to be as well, right, Cope?
Yeah, this is always a really weird day during the year, and I would argue that this is probably our lowest attended day from an audience standpoint.
Yeah, that's tragic.
But here's why. It's because we're only down to 8 teams, and in the same day, we're going to whittle down to 4 teams. So say the 4 teams that lose in their first round of the day next Saturday, if they go home and we only have the 4 teams that are left, depending on if those 4 teams have anyone that came to see them at all, it can be difficult. The first and second round are beautiful. There's crowds and there's people that are there accidentally watching shows because they're there for the show after or before. So that's what's cool about that particular round. But this particular round is really, really difficult based on an audience standpoint. So today it was cool to see students who weren't performing. B from Spring Valley came, sat there all day, watched every show. B, thank you.
Beautiful to hear.
We had some graduated students come in. Metzley from Las Vegas High School graduated last year, came to watch some shows. Ernesto from Cimarron, I saw you, graduated last year. So that's cool. We need a little bit of that next week at Desert Oasis. And not to mention, some of the best improv of the year is going to happen next week.
It's really true. This is when teams are motivated, hungry, starved to get up there for their one chance at a title. And, you know, this bracket is about to be broken down so we can learn exactly who those faces are. And I want to say one thing, if I can. Love the energy from the first half of the day that I got to experience with y'all. I left maybe around 11:10 when Shadow Ridge and Clark were just getting going with the Shadow Ridge's chain murder. And I felt really nice vibes across every team that we saw today. Everybody working together, everybody appreciating today, everybody having some friendly claps on the back across the stage. Thank you guys. Thanks for remembering that. We're celebrating even as we're saying goodbye to teams. So continue the celebration by celebrating each other as they continue their path towards a title. Please come and attend these shows, friends. They are truly feel-good moments, no matter what the status of your team is. Tell your friends, tell your family, this is worthy of your time. Join us for Desert Oasis week, next Saturday, the quarterfinals and semifinals. Don't worry, we'll say it again before the end of the video. But, hey, Chaparral, let's put the spotlight on you one more time where these 16 teams went to war, and we'll start as we did at the top of the bracket for the Western Conference, and we start off with a dang old doozy, mi amigos. How about Cimarron, the champions from 2 years ago when we were cut off in Pandemiprov, truly ending our year, no playoffs. It was simply awarded based off of Kopy's points that Cimarron was able to earn a title, but now hunting for a legitimate one in their mind. And in their way was the team we have been not shy about hyping as perhaps the most improved team, if not Clark, West Tech. This was going to be a matchup that was going to absolutely need both of the team's best to see who would advance. So Kopy, let us know how'd it go.
Yeah, so from a scoring breakdown, this was the closest show of the day. They were within 4 points of the judges' scores, and the coaches understand how close that 4 points means. Maybe the students do not.
It's agonizing.
Yeah. 4 points can sometimes be the difference between putting your hands in your pockets and not having your hands in your pockets.
Oh, God.
So something so simple is where you're at for 4 points because you could get hundreds. You can get hundreds of points in these shows. So in this particular one, this was a rematch of earlier in the year. So you had some friendliness backstage before walking out. You had just general good vibes all the way around.
Good vibes.
I remember, I forget what they were saying to each other, but Aaron and Althea backstage were doing cutesy wootsy stuff, just hyping each other up to go out there. Althea from Cimarron, Aaron, of course, from West
You're
Tech.
a good MVP candidate. Yes, you are. You're a good MVP candidate.
Got to congratulate our award nominees over at West Tech. this was this whole day was an awesome day. This particular show, I would argue, is probably Cimarron's best of the year. Azra, definitely the most comfortable you've been. Cassidy, I think some of the little wittiness that you have really got to be put out there on display today.
Wow.
And that came at the right time because you were playing a West Tech team that's really kind of been flawless all year. And I don't think they were full of flaw today at all. So so West Tech played Evil Twin. And I was realizing as I was about to start, this is the first time I'm going to see Evil Twin, I think, with actual twins.
Oh, fun. Of course.
So in that moment, I went, oh crap, let me make sure the judges realize that it's not the same person. And just say, hey, those are real twins. And then they looked and they said, really? Yeah, look, there's two different people. And then they went, oh, okay.
That's great.
And a pretty well executed Evil Twin. Ashley being good, excuse me.
Okay.
Aaron being evil.
Makes perfect sense.
And Aaron taking some liberties, getting up into the crowd and whatnot, and exploring that universe. Maya and Bella, a really good job of just accepting that and using that, the twist of the twins. But it was fun for me to watch the sisters, just because there's similarities, but there's differences, and so it was just neat to know. If my eyes were closed, I probably would have thought maybe, okay, they know each other. There's a connection and chemistry there. On the other side, I think that's the first time I've seen understudies this year. Cimarron played some understudies. I'm pretty sure, I might need to check, but we got some first line, last line. I can do that better. 6 things. This is a close one, man, and the judges unfortunately had to pick it. There was some debate. I was pulled down by the judges at one point to talk through some concepts and whatnot in the middle of 6 things. Yeah,
this could have gone so either way, huh?
This was the closest of the day, and at the end when Corey was tabulating scores, I had to just throw in another game because I had no other way to stall.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, so we just started playing some scenes from a hat to make sure that they were gonna do it right, because Corey is a professional. Corey, you are awesome and amazing. You did it all right, and we figured it out, and Cimarron advanced.
Oh my goodness. Yes. An incredible moment for the day where a show so, contested, like these were going to be 2 teams absolutely looking to squeak out a close one. And here we are. There it is. It's It's so close. Congratulations, Cimarron. This is a great step forward for your camp as you prepare for your now quarterfinal matchup that, I gotta say, you never sleep on Cimarron, ever, not once. Don't ever sleep on a Cimarron squad. They will play you hard in the playoffs, and here they come. So congrats to a West Tech team that has done nothing but wow us. Game in, game out, the way you carry yourselves backstage, the way you carry yourselves with your coach, the way you guys have proved to be coachable, the way you guys have turned out incredible award nominees multiple times this year. There's nothing whatsoever for you guys to feel blue about. And you should stay as sunny as those yellows you rock when you're on stage. You guys are talented. You guys are smart. You guys are kind and capable of coming back even better next year. There's no reason why not, because the camp is so strong, right?
Yeah, and I think Song had them completely prepared, as Song does, Coach Song. Yeah. And these 4 being in the show, these were the 4 that deserved to be in the show. I know that was a big thing for Song, is picking which students are going to be in this particular show. Bella, you earned your spot up there. Aaron, you were standing there in between these 2 nominated performers, and Aaron, you definitely had the best day. So you went in there like a rock star today. You charging the stage in first line, last line with Althea as your partner across from you. I mean, brilliant, really good stuff. So you're 1,000,000% right. West Tech, I mean, winning or losing today, I don't think is the measurement for how good you are. So, and I think the awards and main stage nominations, I think that's all evidence of that. So.
Yeah, this is not a bitter. This is not as bitter as it could be, guys. Like, I hope you're feeling great, and I hope you're feeling proud of yourselves, and I hope that you recognize that at the end of the day, if you help another team be better, you're still succeeding in what we do, and that's the beauty of a loss in this category at times.
Ashley backstage before we're walking out points at me kind of like I'm a clown at a party or something. And Ashley says, "I'm gonna make you cry again today." Okay, Ashley.
That's absolutely right. Perhaps we'll see
at some point. Yeah.
We'll miss West Tech, but until next year, know you kids are what this league is all about. Period. Truthfully and honestly. Now to find out your opponents, though, old Simmy. The answer would, of course, come from the winner of the following matchup. One that I have to say is harder for me to immediately tighten up. Oh, I know exactly what it is. Excuse me. This was when Clark and Shadow Ridge met up in a very fun, historically speaking, unlikely matchup of two teams in the second round of a playoff. Why? Because we had one appearing in their second playoff, but only their first on stage. Good old Shadow Ridge. Congrats to this level. And Clark, of course, Team Love, a team that's had a very long climb up the ladder in Jesters, but one that has beautifully and poetically gelled this year. Shadow Ridge is coming off a bit of a shocker as they take down Arbor View, so they should be coming out full confidence, ready to swing for the fences, and they would have to, as Clark was going to bring their stable teammates all year, plus Hillel, who, and when I say stable, I mean the kind who can do great scene work, and Hillel, who's a fun-loving jolt of energy that every team should strive to put into their lineup as playoffs hit, because you got to have a stroke of just some silly fun. And that's the great concoction. So, Kopy, Shadow Ridge, can they rise to the occasion one more time, shock some folks, or is Clark truly destined to head deeper in the playoffs than ever before? Well, not ever before, but pretty far.
Well, at least to continue from there. So to say it as clear as day, both teams have never advanced past today's round.
Oh, I was right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Clark has never made it beyond this round. Only winning one playoff show in their history. And then, of course, Shadow Ridge being newer, it's the same boat. They've only won one as well. Mm-hmm. So, and that, of course, being last week. So whoever was moving on was creating their own history. And that's how we're walking into this particular one.
Amazing.
Right out of the gate, we got a Switch interview that was pushing and testing some limits. As far as character setups and concept setups and ways they crawled into the scenes,
yes.
Ways that they physically added depth to these scenes. Some Switch interview is a game that I would typically show a newer group of people to just get them kind of comfortably in a flow. But in this particular game, we were playing it like we were entertaining a crowd. And that's the goal. That's what you're
right.
Trying to do, and that's exactly what they did. So a great start out of the gate. We got a survivor at an 80s disco, and that's an oxymoron in itself.
Right.
And Clark's choice in the survivor was to be old people, like out of retirement home old people. So their interpretation of 80s disco was people in walkers and whatnot. And then still able to create a fun scene that we got to watch get replayed over and over and over again. Marlene drew the shortest straw or the best straw, depending on which version you see.
Yay! Good to hear that. Yeah.
Got to be the closer in that one, and a really strong close. Marlene hit so many beats, and they kind of all did as they went down. So you're right about Hillel. Like, there's something about how he adds things from just a conceptual standpoint to scenes, and he did it again here. Same stuff. You got a chain murder on the other side that I think on Shadow Ridge's side, I think they were just comfortable or at least confident in what the ideas were.
Yep.
So there was some automatic whoops and some automatic confirmation of, I got this. Let's keep rocking. Coming from their camp. And which is kind of cool. Anytime we see Tyler on stage, Tyler clearly enjoys this. That's what I love the most, when I see that you're up here having fun. Noah, we got you up here in your second show this year. Belle, of course, killing it like you always do. We got a really good connected, meanwhile, like some real logical tangents that took us to funny places that allowed us to still connect some storylines. So, and that's how you get points, guys, is when you connect some things and you're doing that good of work. And that's what Meanwhile yielded for us. And then some ridiculous words out of that sideline debate game.
Oh boy, yeah.
Thanks, Roman.
Sure. I'm not Roman, but I'm just admitting it had to be.
Oh, well, I know Roman watches every second of these, so the more we say Roman, the more, I don't know, the more Roman sleeps better at night. So yeah, Roman definitely gave them some difficult words, but at the end of this one, Clark advances and creates some history, and they're going to the Elite Eight.
More charging ahead with Cimarron on the horizon. Another incredible matchup. This is going to be some finesse going toe-to-toe with some true classic Cimarron power. This is going to be two teams completely capable of overcoming that are going to be matched up right to a T. So I can't tell you what's going to happen, and we must be in the audiences to enjoy this. We've got two MVP candidates in this specific matchup for next week.
Yeah.
Right? As Althea and Jenna bring their teams to a forefront, and both are Cinderella stories in an interesting way. So who's going to be left with their pumpkin at the end of the night? That's all we got to know. Can't wait to see who puts on the glass slipper, but it's going to be a heck of a matchup. Any thoughts on what that looks like next week?
Well, you've got a Clark team that I think they're definitely feeling it. I think they're in the right groove, and there's a lot of depth to what they're doing. So it's not kind of a cheap joke or just riding some lightning. There's some depth to what they're doing, and that's when it's hard to compete, is when people can do things at multiple layers. So that's kind of where Clark is riding. On the Cimarron side of it, yeah, that power is sometimes hard to ignore, and that's what it is. I think we knew that the second we heard that Sam transferred to Cimarron. It's because Sam has that power. Althea's always had that power. So to see Azra up there today and Cassidy share some of that power, it made sense. So, I mean, is it? No Jesters gonna understand this reference, but it's what came to my head first. Is this
okay? I'm ready.
Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. I mean, is that kind of what we're getting out of this?
It's definitely two players of that caliber. You know, you can have a Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds reference. I don't know. That's no, not at all.
Different position. Yeah.
No.
A whole different animal.
Yup.
Well, you know what? But in that same vein, Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa also fit in the category.
They certainly do, everybody. All we want you to know is Kopy and I have most respect for steroid-using baseball players. Just letting you know.
This joke is just for us. And you know what? Jarrell understands.
Yeah,
Jarrell
would
knows
get
exactly what we're saying right now.
I had a funny conversation backstage with, I think it was the Clark kids. It had to be. I was just standing there in front of them with Jarrell, and they were saying that you, me, and Jarrell are like the first three faces on the evolutionary chart, right? Like we all have the same vibe going, but we look like extended versions of ourselves. So like Jarrell has to be the one at the end, but you'd argue that you don't belong between the two of us, right? I don't know. They were just riffing, and God, those Clark kids, man, that riffing back there made me realize how far they've come in their hearts and in their confidence and with each other. You know, they're just so grateful to be there together, and And Jarrell's part of that too. I saw him helping them brainstorm the opener where they come out, behaving like sharks was their thing.
Which was funny.
I love that about that school, and I love that about Coach Jarrell. I'm rooting for you guys, man. In a perfect world, it would be so much fun to see Clark in that final. Let's see how you guys handle Cimarron next week. But at the same time, it's really hard for me to say I want to see an Alfeo-led team go anywhere but higher up. And Sam, dude, you know how much I enjoy Sam. So good luck, teams, man. I hope I get to be in that audience. I really sincerely do. Speaking of Roman, by the way, he looks at me today and goes, "Hey, Warren, thanks so much for showing up for a show." And I went, "Roman, that hurt my feelings so bad." For you kids who don't know, because you've not seen Warren at a show yet, I love this stuff. The only reason why I'm not there is because I have to pay the bills, okay? So let's just be nice to Warren, okay? Thanks. Moving forward. It happened, Roman. Don't tell me I'm not at a show condescendingly, okay? It happened.
You know what? Maybe he was taking his frustration out on you because I told him today that he wasn't allowed to use any of his canned jokes today.
What?
And he didn't. We didn't get any color theory. We didn't get any hold on to your butts. We didn't get any of his canned jokes. I told him he wasn't allowed, and he did great. So, Roman, thank you.
Congrats, Roman, for avoiding cliches. That is second only to puns for Kopy as the most grating type of comedy. So good job. But I love you, Roman. I'm just teasing you always, and hopefully you're teasing me too. Otherwise, I'm coming for you, kid. I'll give you the noogie of a lifetime. Hey, how about we continue on with the west side of the bracket, because there's some incredible teams ready to take the stage next. I mean, I know we all talked about how badly we wanted to circle and highlight and underline this one as Northwest CTA, the team that's perennially sniffing contendership, whether no matter what happens, we get shut down for Pandemiprov, they're still near the top of the list, guys. And Bonanza, a team that has just steadily, kind of like Clark, kind of like West Tech, just gotten better and better and better and better and better. And they've got legitimately strong chemistry, such fun, back and forth, free-flowing chemistry. And they were going to need to bring that, of course, against one of the most experienced troops in the league in Northwest CTA, with their twin MVP nominees in Erica Fish and Isaiah Guerra, and two teammates who've absolutely drunk from their fountain of fantastic improv to become just as formidable alongside them, whose names you'll give because I'm not perfect. But this matchup of 2-4 teams, I only caught the last 10 minutes. I am brokenhearted I didn't see more, because this was show of the day for so many of us. Tell us, Kopy, was it your show of the day too?
Yeah, and I haven't said this point yet, and this is worth highlighting now.
Yeah.
These particular days, these Sweet 16, these playoff days, they're bittersweet for the teams, as far as winning, advancing, or not advancing. That happens. But for me, on a personal level, it's almost like we get to actually see growth all in one shot, all in one day. To where this is a long game. Like that's what this league is about. It's about how we grow over time, but we get to actually see it in these moments, and that's kind of what struck me. So today, I saw that a lot, and I should have mentioned that in the West Tech Cimarron show that we talked about first, and then obviously Clark and Shadow Ridge. We basically define that in different words. So for this one, right out of the gate at 8 a.m., to see that these 4-year players are still nervous, that they're still right, that they're, except for Erica, because Erica, I'm pretty sure Erica plays professional football in the NFL. And
so when I saw Erica backstage, I literally, first thing I said was, "Don't hurt me."
Yeah, exactly.
And she smiled and said hi and nice things for maybe the first time in my whole life with her. But it was nice to, she does give off that "I will break you" mentality. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Exactly. But the nerves are still there, and just to see kind of how we rise up to these moments, that I get to actually see that, and maybe you share those thoughts and feelings with me, but I know it's evident and true. So Kylie coming back and playing after your first show in 2 years, just melted my soul. I couldn't have been any happier seeing you up there, Kylie.
Super cool.
T, getting you back up there. Now you're a 4-year player. This was your first show this year, but seeing you up here in a playoff show, being a 4-year player, you've been around. You've been around back to when that Northwest team made it to that championship. Right. So some feel-good moments there, and then you've got your, quasi Cinderella team here on Bonanza that just kind of blew all of us away this year. So I think there were equal nerves from both sides. Watching them backstage before the first show, they were ready. They were cracking us up. Sure. And then they got out there and they delivered. So we got we got a head-to-head deleted scenes. Ooh. Where Kylie, welcome back, and got paired with Aiden to do the scenes while the teams would create the deleted scenes. So their suggestion was prison pen pals. And they did some funny stuff back and forth with prison and writing letters and whatnot.
Sure.
And I just decided to join in the fun. And at one point in the middle of the game, I come in and say, "Hey, cell check. I'm tossing the cell in prison inspection." And both Aiden and Kylie, as quickly as possible, went, "Oh no, invisibility cloak." Made themselves invisible, and what am I gonna do all alone on stage? So I leave because I've got nothing left to inspect. I've never had students get me out of a scene or a game by their choosing that fast in my life. Together. Yeah. So brilliant, so good. I literally stood there looking at them going, I cannot believe this just happened. And it was hilarious.
Without denying, without the word no, you canceled Kopy from the scene because don't worry, Cope, we got this. This is our show to steal.
So, and so then I had a moment where I walked off and I went, okay, do they continue? Do they freeze? What happens? And they just continued right along with their
pull off the cloak and get back to work.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of cool. Cool moments to see. A really stellar forward reverse from Northwest. Really did a good job of catching those beats and getting those moments down. Another ridiculous melodrama by Bonanza. Definitely some puke was involved in that game. I don't know how Italian made it into their I Can Do That Better, because that was something that was being talked about before the show. And then somehow we got a bunch of Italian stuff in that particular game. And this was just high energy the whole time. We got to the end and I knew we had a few minutes to spare. So I was like, I got to give them an extra game so that these judges know who to advance. So I got them in some to-do rap. Northwest did advance. Yeah, they are moving on to the next round. But man, I do believe unofficially this was the highest scored show of the day.
Sure.
But Northwest did advance.
Well, congratulations, Northwest, for continuing to uphold the mantle of toughest team in the West. At least when the season's going and lead up, like nobody ever is excited to see Northwest on their path. I'm just grateful I coach East Coast teams right now. That's all I can say. It's just been a plethora of excellent improv from the West Coast of the Valley this year. Seeing a team like Bonanza go at this stage is a testimony to that. Congratulations to that entire crew for piecing together some incredible story making and some fantastic energy. And the flow you guys have is not something very many teams achieved this year. So kudos to a great coach, kudos to a great team in Bonanza. Your story is back, it's open, we're writing, and you have zero reason to have nothing but momentum going into next year. And Northwest, I mean, how many times do we have to repeat ourselves? You guys enjoy your quarterfinal berth, and good luck to you as you take on another tough team who's vying for that contendership as well. But would it be Sierra Vista, who had a plucky victory last week, no doubt about it, or would it be, Riffside? You know, those guys. Have you heard of them? They are kind of sort of the defending champions, and they kind of sort of have all the pieces they need to make anybody shake in their boots still. So what are you looking forward to out of that? You're looking forward to a true David and Goliath matchup in a way, because reputationally, this Sierra Vista team was already playing with house money, and they just want to see what they can do against one of the best teams in the league, period. How did they do? How did this go? Was it everything that we hoped it would be, a chance for Sierra Vista to step up even more?
So you had, at the start of this one, you had 4 seniors on the Riftside side.
Riftside side?
Yep. Robert, your first show this year, but that officially, that also, just like T in Northwest, that gave you your 4-year nod. So Robert, thank you.
Yay! Get on that website.
Yep. And then Sierra Vista side, of course, we had Victor in, which you've done plenty of shows this year.
Yay, Victor, bless.
The 4-year star over at Vista.
Yay,
so
I'm glad you played.
So I think this was the best version we've seen of Sierra Vista.
Yay.
I think Coach Ariel had them prepared. I think that the choices they made a switch to how to play the first line, last line, just to make sure that everyone could really go out there and fire. And Riftside came out as, I mean, on fire as they have.
Nice.
Just kind of melting our faces off as they've been doing. From the get, from their tag out. They started with tag out. And the very first cue or joke that came out of this was somebody was named. Their name was absolutely nothing. My name is Kopy. This character's name was absolutely nothing. And if they just didn't pound that joke in and make us just enjoy it and understand it and just aggressively digest it. And that's kind of what Riftside did in this particular one. They played in Angels and Demons with Josh as the demon and Alicia as the angel. And they were literally dancing. They were dancing together, hanging out on Sophia's shoulder. Like, I'm just like, they were so much juice in this scene, just so much. Robert doing a perfect banter off of Sophia, who had to, if Josh and Alicia were on your shoulders, what would you do?
I feel an extreme sense of urgency knowing how Alicia plays, but I mean, go ahead.
Just poof, man,
tons
just
going on,
mind blowing. I had a lot of fun with this. What are you doing? Matchup wise, I really enjoyed who I got to pair up. I got to see. I put Archer and Josh first. Archer and Josh are both the All Stars. So it's our Riftside All Star and our Sierra Vista All Star.
Sierra Vista Archer, Archer harder.
And I think especially this week, yes, Archer is the all-star, but I think Archer had his best week with some force and some grit to what he was doing. And Josh is capable of just reinventing the wheel. And Josh played this "What Are You Doing" like I've never seen before. Josh's "What Are You Doing" was constant. There was never a break. It was Josh was continuously doing. What are you doing? Well, I'm not stopping is what I'm doing. But also I'm doing blah blank. So just super interesting. And that's what Josh has always been able to do. I think we could use that exact breakdown in how Josh is as a performer. I got happy with a nice little round with Sophia and Giselle next. I really wanted to see Jade and Alicia. Jade, I thought, had an amazing show. Alicia is just such a dynamite performer. I wanted to see what they looked like next to each other, and it's just ridiculous. And then I let our 4-year performers close it out with Victor and Robert,
Beautiful.
which was cool. 2 very different people, just as different as it gets, but 2 people that clearly have a heart here and really enjoy this league. So there's a lot for me just to sit back and smile on in this one, as I've been saying on all these shows. This is bittersweet for you guys in one way, bittersweet for me in another. Riverside does advance in this one, and they are moving on to the Elite Eight. But that was not necessarily. Sierra Vista did not go down without a fight. So,
Victor.
Go ahead.
Little note to Victor. Victor came to me in his freshman year, and quickly blossomed into a most improved player nominee, my second of my coaching run. But I just remember how special it felt watching that student find himself and finding a home and finding friends and finding a team and belonging. That's what we do in Jesters. We find those folks who don't know where they belong a place to be, and a place to be accepted, a place to be valued and be cheered. And it's a gift to have known Victor, and it's a gift to have known that Sierra Vista's grown with him as a team. And as they bow out, I'm thrilled by the culture I'm seeing blossom there. Thank you, Coach Ariel, for giving them that. A solid, intelligent improviser capable of building true talent into something at a school that honestly seems to get some amazingly talented students. So let's go. And I really root for you guys to have a great camp moving forward. And Victor, know you'll always have a home with us. You're like family. So be around if you'd like to be, because we'll always remind you that you are valuable and that you belong.
Yeah, and let me back that up at least just with one more comment. Is watching Victor and Robert do this together. I think it was kind of clear to me that they were not very familiar with each other, which can show you how big the league is and how many students there are.
True.
But knowing them and how long they've been around, Victor, of course, like you said, was the most improved nominee at one point. Robert performed in the highest scored show in our Jesters history in Robert's freshman year.
Wow. Wow.
So just to give you just some insight to who these two are, and to really not have that interaction. And there's a really cool moment in there. What are you doing? And it's killing me that I don't remember the word, but it was AP were their letters, and it was accelerating something. And it turned out to this moment of them working together on the endowment, where Robert was coaching or leading or encouraging something to where Victor had to pick up intensity and speed, to the point where Victor kind of fell over. But it was such a good moment of just working together and getting to that place. Just two people that might not know each other, but clearly have a love for doing this. And that was my victory for this particular show, is getting to see that moment and those two together. So you're absolutely right, Victor. You always have a home here. Robert, you always have a home here. You all always have a home here. And even if you're not thinking about it, or even if you have no idea, there's lots of Roberts and Victors out there. So a lot more to
true. Yep. Kopy throws a mean Thanksgiving. Just letting you guys know. We'll hope to see you next year. And now the Western bracket is solidified because Riverside will advance. They will take on Northwest CTA in what? We don't have this as our Western Conference final. No, I mean, I'm sorry. Cimarron and Clark have all the respect in the world. Trust me. But yikes, this matchup, right? This matchup is Bay. Okay. This is whom you're picking up in your convertible, taking to the movie, whining and dining with that expensive dinner, hoping that you could take them home and show them to your mom and go, look, I got one. This is the show that we want to watch. Bam. I'm stoked and scared, and it will be improv of epic proportions. So kids, come on down. All right, come see the show. It's free. And you're going to see some of the finest improv humanly possible. Kopy, thoughts? You can't disagree with that.
Yeah, both teams have been delivering all year. If you want to look at it this way, the season is really kind of just meant to test the water, and the playoffs are meant to swim. And to swim in the deep end and to try tricks and dive off the diving board. That's what you're doing in the playoffs, is you're trying to get the most out of that experience humanly possible. I don't think anyone ever told Northwest or Riverside what I just said. I think they stole the boat and they've been tubing the entire season. So, yeah, it's kind of what happens when you get this deep into the playoffs. Is these scenarios play themselves out, and now we're about to see the collision. So,
this is like the Golden State Warriors in their prime with like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson and I don't know, JaVale McGee. Is he a third? I don't care. Going up against like the Spurs in Popovich's prime with like Duncan and Parker and people you also don't know, kids. So the point is, these are two of the most stacked teams I think I've ever seen in Jesters history. And they're going to go toe to toe in one of the craziest 60 minutes of improv. It's not even one of our 90-minute shows. Like, I want that bad. This is going to be great. Please be there. Please be there.
Completely agree. All our sports references. We're doing great with the kids. The kids
Hey, listen, they get this. Hey, guys, it's Team Edward or Team Jacob. You get that one? Good. Just checking. They're both great. There's quality. One of them sparkles. Move forward. All right, folks, it's time for us to flip over to the east side of the bracket where there are still surprises more to come. No doubt about it, especially as we eye our first matchup of the week where ATEC, the team that has been the Eastern Conference champions this year, who have an amazing student in second team main stager, Jessica Jesselnick, right? Is how I say the last name? Not like Anthony Jesselnick, Jesberg. Geiselhart. Thank you. I'm sorry, friends. Jessica, nothing personal. I love your energy. I'll learn your last name. This team was so strong all year as they went toe-to-toe, of course, with Desert Pines, a team close to my heart. No, I joked, of course. Other flip. I wrote this wrong. Silverado, a comedic team, very funny, very poised. Definitely all four guys could grab a microphone, head up there and make us giggle with not a whole lot to lean on. But I said it last week, guys, bring some stories. You're going to want them. They're going to come in handy. So could Silverado tell stories strong enough to get them past an ATEC team who has looked like the best in the East all year? Speaking as a coach of an East Coast team. What happened?
So you had a lot of veterans in the show. A lot of KG veterans. The ATEC team, all of them have been around, including your 4-year players. Then you got some 4-year players over there at Silverado. Mm-hmm. But the Silverado team, they played last week. So they played in the first round and won and advanced. And it was the 4 that also played this week. It was the same 4. ATEC had the bye last week. So this was their first show of the playoffs for this particular year.
Oh.
So seeing what was coming out on paper was already intriguing. My victory in this one, if I'm just getting to I keep talking about my personal bittersweetness, is Emily from ATEC, because Emily's been around for several years, but Emily just hasn't done a lot of shows. And I don't have necessarily a reason, and I hope by me talking about this, maybe I can learn what that reason is, because I know Jessica's watching. And Jessica can tell Emily if Emily's not.
Put it in the chat, Jessica.
But maybe Emily didn't perform before. We can just assume maybe there was fear. Who knows? Maybe Emily has a job and was just busy. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is, whatever turned over to where Emily picked up the pace this year and really got on board and performed, it was cool to watch you today be completely immersed and be in there with your crazy wild team. That was kind of my victory today. Is yes, Emily's up there doing what we know she was capable of doing, because we know what Sean can do. Also, former most improved performer. We know what Jessica can do.
Yeah.
Nick, a comment I made to Coach Song this week was Nick could have ran this league had Nick done some more shows. So,
I thought I recognized Nick in that group as I stepped out from backstage. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this was already what I was excited about, was just seeing what we have here with these particular performers. And then you got your Rookie of the Year nominee with Jillian over at Silverado.
Yeah.
Nathan and Parker, just 4-year players that just do nothing but make you laugh. And Miguel, who had a pretty strong showing. So they started with a game of Monkey Mirror with the Oval Office on the Silverado side and
goodness,
the Enchanted Tiki Room
oh,
on the ATEC side. And I'm going to admit that I don't know what the Enchanted Tiki Room is. However, ATEC definitely knew what it was. There was
turn down Cameron's music. I need to sing this to you, okay?
Well, no, I found the song. Like, I have the song in the whatever, and I got to play it in that moment. But yeah, I didn't know what that was. But there's a clear understanding.
Yours is strange, Kopy.
I'm strange.
That might have been one of the parrots. Just move on. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're fine. Okay, so we got a handful of good stuff here. We got some Survivor out of ATEC.
Yeah.
They had a haunted Home Depot scene with ghosts. A lot of ghosts in this particular scene. We got to see Sean close this thing out. Sean definitely played like what we know Sean is capable of playing.
Really?
I love the take on the ghosts. Emily, you were so funny with all of your comments and how you set that up and got to where you were. Emily went out second to last behind Sean.
Cool.
On the other side, you got this what game, and here's what's most important about this particular what game is that it was about pirates. They started off pretty strong, and they actually ended this game pretty strong, but Parker got whatted into a name. He was like the guy mopping the boat or the ship, and he comes out and says, "I'm Cleany Dave," or whatever he said, and then Roman whatted him to the point to where he said that his name was Wash the Deck Tina. And that's what Roman stuck with, was Wash the Deck Tina was the name. And it got a funny pop in that particular game. However, when we go on to 6 things later in the show, Silverado got a suggestion for bowling, and instead of having bowling pins, all of the bowling pins were Argentina.
Oh, okay. Just the country.
Right, and they struggled to get Nathan to get to R, and then Jen, and then we got to see Wash the Deck Tina come back. And it was such a good discovery that everyone got to feel and discover together. The audience too, me, myself as well. It's like, wow, what a full circle of being able to bring just something so simple that we used back again in that particular game, that particular show. Zero. And then I think ATEC were so calculated, so good. Roman really threw them a curveball and like inceptioned their 6 things. Oh, wow. But Sean still seemed to put that all together. Wow. Yeah, I was just like, how do you do that, Sean?
Unbelievable.
And then a really solid to-do wrap, especially from ATEC. Sean and Jessica were our anchors. And just, man, were they showing that energy. Tom Holland made it into the show, and what I mean by that was a life-size cutout. Yeah. I don't know where that came from or
not your house.
It happened.
No
oddly,
way.
Right? Not mine.
Definitely not his house.
But for Jessica turned to do rap over to Tom Holland as if Tom Holland was in line.
That's so funny.
And like totally gave it to him and was to do rapping him to see that the cardboard cutout would get it. So, and then of course Roman naturally eliminated Tom Holland.
Yeah. Good smart choice, Roman.
A good funny moment.
Good.
Yeah, judges had to pick. Silverado advanced. And Silverado's going on to the next round. But man, what a show. What a show.
A major congrats to Silverado for doling out the substance today in a way that you just have to respect, because ATEC brought it, as Kopy just said. They brought some of their finest pieces. They brought some of their finest games. They brought some of their finest strategy. And Silverado took it punch for punch and won the judges over. That is phenomenal. That is cool. As far as just a fun story, Silverado has grown a lot this year. Through that tried and true Silverado style. There isn't anybody else doing the Prov like they're doing it this year. So that's often been the case with teams of the past. That's classic Cimarron team has a tone all of their own. Any of the Adam Neary teams of past, and still with the culture that's carried on through those teams, they still play a little bit different. I'd like to think Del Sol is a little different. We all have our own style at this point, but Silverado's is so comedy driven and so like stand-up comedy feeling. Like it's just the way that they carry themselves. And so to see them knock that out is a truly impressive circumstance. So Silverado, congrats on raising some eyebrows. And A-Tech, I mean, have we not gushed over you all year? Have we not tried to lift up every piece of your team and remind you of how great you are? You were great Eastern Conference champions. It was an honor to relinquish that opportunity to y'all last year, and you've carried yourselves like true role models this year. This is Sean's final year.
Sean and Jessica, actually, Sean, Jessica, and Emily, all seniors.
Yeah, so we're gonna truly miss some incredible faces as we move into next week's Improv. You all have been so great for our league. Your story has been, the way that your school has fallen in love with Improv has been amazing. We just pray that you keep that momentum moving forward and bring a whole new crop of excited A-Techians out there to play some Improv next year, because you guys have laid some amazing groundwork, and we're so thrilled and proud to have met all of you. So thank you, A-Tech is the best thing to say. But congrats to a Silverado squad. That's gonna be interesting. A new Cinderella story could be blossoming out there in Silverado school. So we'll see what happens, especially looking across the bracket from them, as Basic and East Tech want to play some Improv today in order to face them. And Basic, we announced it earlier on this week, was going to be enjoying the presence of their first team main stage cast member, Evan Hardy, somebody who's been a part of our league for 4 years as well, somebody who's always had so much on their plate that they can't see each year all the way through with us. And this was going to continue the trend. Evan's final show, Basic was going to come out hot, hoping to do everything they can to send him off, win or loss, with their heads held high. And East Tech has been a team that has, very much like Bonanza perhaps across the valley from them, had a distinct style all their own that has been gelling consistently with another, in this case, another second main stage cast member in Connor, ready to provide the electricity, as we've discussed. This was going to be a really interesting matchup where Evan is so constant and Connor is so selective. Two different types, two different wavelengths, two different voltage amounts. Was this one able to power up all of Las Vegas with its energy? I imagine it was. What do you think, Cope?
Yeah, I do think so. Before the show, being backstage with them, Basic today played their seniors again. So all their seniors.
Oh, that's going to happen.
I confirmed our grades for who was back there for East Tech, and Connor and Hunter are both juniors, and then we got Camden and Amelia again, which are both freshmen. So cool to see the confidence coming out of the freshmen on that East Tech squad. Hunter, I asked East Tech, just not knowing the answers. That's why I asked. But I said, "Hey, do you guys ever watch the recaps?" And they all were like, "Yeah, of course we watch the recaps." And then Hunter, without even missing a beat, was like, "You never talk about me."
Whoops.
Which is not true, Hunter, because
literally not true.
You're your team's all-star. So we had to talk about you in a 2-hour video that we made in the middle of the night. So
truthfully.
But let's not talk about Hunter anymore.
No, too much Hunter. I'd like to move on to Gathering, please.
Yeah. Good joke.
Thanks, man. I tried.
And then, of course, Connor confirmed that he's exactly like that all day long, every day. So this show had a handful of really strong moments. They started with some town hall meeting. There was some good comfort about a banana and some good creative interpretations of what to do with the banana. Sometimes it's so easy in town hall meeting just to go, here's the object, I like it, I don't like it, end of story. but I think it was Victoria that started. I'm positive it was Victoria that started with being from Minnesota, talking about all the palm trees that grow in Minnesota, which already isn't true, and then all the bananas that grow in her palm tree, which also is not true. So just building these worlds is what they were doing, building these worlds that don't exist, and having the creative side of doing that. East Tech's inner monologues, the scene was just dogs being better than humans. I loved seeing
facts.
I loved seeing the difference between Hunter and Connor out of the gate, and how they showed the separation and just their position on it. Little voice in the library. We got Joseph again on the microphone for Little Voice.
Nice.
Evan, just a brilliant, just doing exactly what Evan does there in the library. But I think the game that really caught me was Carbon Copy. So of course, well, East Tech started it, so you can only imagine what that meant as far as the replays. And
boy,
Joseph and Aaliyah took the spots of Connor and the other Aaliyah.
Boy. What a great game to play for this group.
Amelia, please forgive me. So
he's apologizing now, kids.
Yep, you don't have to catch me. So Connor and Amelia, man, did they start this thing on a high note. So Joseph comes out there with Aaliyah and does a good Carbon Copy replay, but Aaliyah was kind of the ragdoll in this one, to like the point where Aaliyah, like you could literally see Aaliyah go, "What is happening?" And then they just had to keep one upping. And at one point I went over to the side and I was like, "Hey guys, we need to remember about safety and making sure that no one's going to get hurt."
Right.
That's kind of where we're going with this particular game.
Safety first.
I offered to hold glasses. Like that's kind of where this game was. And the suggestion, of course, was running away after an explosion. That was the suggestion. So
that's quite a place to be escalated at the beginning.
Yep. First Line, Last Line had a lot of great moments. I loved the two Minecraft people. That was the suggestion for their particular scene. I don't know anything about Minecraft, but I could appreciate. It's like us talking about sports to the kids. I could appreciate the suggestions and how and what they were doing. Hunter was showing very simply how he couldn't grab things. I don't know if that's a thing, but couldn't pick up whatever it was. Okay, whatever it was, Hunter was not capable of doing it, which created comedy, not by just me, but the audience was laughing. Connor went into a full freestyle in his particular First Line, Last Line, and I think in my brain I was like, oh, he's gonna stop after one verse, like he's got one rhyme, that's it, and then nope, kept going. That's cool. Just the audience kept growing, like increasing, like oh my god, he's really freestyling right now.
Wow.
Full on freestyle, where I don't think he created that before. There's no way
that had to be a pop at the end of that.
It was a great pop. Yeah,
sure.
It was a great moment, great pop. Now we know something more about Connor.
Let's go, Connor.
What's in the wheelhouse? But just a solid competitive show, close in the scoring. Basic did advance.
Oh my god.
Is moving on.
Kopy, that's an amazing outcome. I want to react to it, but I have to ask, did we at least get confirmation from Connor that he loves improv?
Yes. Good. You know what? Not in those words. Okay. We had a decent conversation just as far as this is Connor's lifestyle, at least. We'll talk again, because we're gonna see Connor again. And we'll have more conversation at some point.
He's an incredible young entertainer, and a very even matchup in this playoff. Two teams that were going to bring a lot of energy. Basic does have an amazing amount of ability to create scene work, just a very unique texture to their scene work, very smooth, very capable. That was a big part probably of how this eventually played out. It's tough to see either team go, and with Evan Hardy being saluted with a win on his way out, it feels so fitting. I can't wait to see what Basic does next week as they take on the winner of our next matchup. And it's extremely exciting to see what's coming out of East Tech, because it's always fun to see the ebbs and flows of teams, and it seems like we're on a flow for East Tech. So let's hope next year this rides into some new and exciting momentum for them. Both teams are great, very much respected. Can't hyperbolize enough. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is a happy trails message to Evan. Thank you for everything. You've been really fun to highlight as an example for so many students. You know, Del Sol and Basic are friends. We have great shows together, and we just have so much respect. You're the last camp of a really great group of Basic kids to graduate, and we're gonna miss this era of Basic from my perspective. Thanks for all the fun. You're a great kid. I hope all your dreams come true. We know you're gonna work hard to make them happen. Please write us letters of your greatness. It's something we just want to keep tabs on, Evan, and to any of our other Basic friends graduating. Please don't think all we think about is Evan. We'll see you guys next year, and just know you should come hang out with us. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, to clarify, just in case anyone's slightly confused, Basic did win in advance, but we just know that Evan cannot participate in the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, so Evan will
Yeah.
not be there next week in their advanced show, because Evan's going to be doing one of the many things that he does in his life, because he's a busy boy.
Busy boy.
He'll be out of town, and we knew it. And I got to have a cool moment with Evan after the show. It's rare that a team that won in advance to where I had this moment with Evan, but got to have a thank you moment, and handshake and a hug, and Evan was definitely the reason I cried today. So yeah, everything Warren just said, Evan, thank you.
Dude, special kid. Please keep in touch somehow, in any means you feel comfy. And now let's jump over to our final 4 teams to play as Kopy quietly dries those tears. It is tough. Quietly. Let's all put a spotlight on it real quick. We've got a lamp that we'd like to increase the lighting. Okay, we're done. LVA, Desert Pines.
Well, just a quick little Basic and Silverado for next week.
Oh, please, I forgive. I wanted to, push past your tears. But Basic and Silverado do match up, comedy and fun. Good storytelling once again. This is a matchup that's familiar to Silverado. What do they bring to the table to topple another historical East Coast giant?
Well, I think my first gut reaction is coaching. Cassie at Basic is used to a structure, and following those structures and those games, and that's how Cassie was able to succeed as a performer. Was Cassie got to learn structure. It took Cassie a while, but she continues that. And if that isn't a part of the Basic culture anyway, is that particular structure. And then we have Isaac and Enrique on the other side, who, I mean, Isaac's so stinking funny. Enrique is too. Those two work so well together. I feel like they're gonna always want to stay coaches together.
That's cool.
There's definitely some love there between those two. So I think that's kind of what you have going into this next week. Rumor also has it. Basic's not going to have Evan, but Nathan will not be playing for Silverado next week either.
Wow.
Nathan will also be out of town. So, but they've got players to choose from as far as who and what and games and strategy. And I am more than curious to see what happens in this one, and who advances into the Final Four from here.
Whew. Yeah, it could be anybody's game at this point, friends. So go out there with your best game plan and your best energy. As always, listen to one another. Yes, and hit those who's and what's and why's and wins, and you're going to have a good show. And we're excited for it. Good luck to both teams. It's been a fun year. There's no doubt about it. Thanks. Forgive me for pushing past that, but we'll push now onward at last to LVA and Desert Pines, a matchup between two schools with different stories this year. LVA has been about chemistry, bonding these groups together with some incredible live wires like Elliott and Paige, right? Rookie of the Year nominee, Bram, another Most Improved Player nominee. Award races all over this matchup, as Desert Pines has a couple great players of their own. Haley is representing the Most Improved Award recipient nominations. And in our second team main stage, we've got the incomparable Sarah Miller. And hey, how about, well, not a 4-year player, senior, sure, but Thomas, somebody who's kind of come out of nowhere for Desert Pines to put on a great playoff alongside another stalwart and Sunny, who goes way back with Sarah, one of the better duos on the East Coast too. So, I mean, 2 teams with plenty of potential to win this for each of their squads. This one was going to be interesting. How did it play out, Cope?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So from the scoring standpoint, this is the only other show that split the judges this week.
Oh,
okay. To where 6 of them were unanimous, where all 3 judges' scores went one way. 2 of them were split, and we already talked about the other one, which was West Tech and Cimarron. So this one split it, and it was tight. You know what's interesting is on the LVA side, when you think about who they have with Elliot, I think, and I'm pretty sure, I don't even need to do much research to figure this out, but Elliot, no, I'm wrong. Elliot and Althea are the only 2 students in the league that have a championship under their belt.
Oh, wow.
So seeing Elliot nervous backstage was a shocker for me. And then, of course, you've got Paige, who's nominated for the award, Bram, who didn't perform today. So getting Leora and David in for LVA, for me, was like a yes, let's see, let's go. Leora, who I think's had great power this year when Leora plays. And then David, who this was only David's second show.
Cool. Wow.
And I was looking around at everyone that was back there, and David was kind of the odd man out. And I said to David, I was like, are you nervous? And then he looks at me and he says, should I be? Oh no, now I'm nervous. All right, sorry, David.
Yeah, that's not what we're looking for. My bad. Don't overthink it now.
But looking at Desert Pines too, I had all those feel-good, bittersweet moments that I was talking about. Seeing Thomas come back just warms my heart. Thomas was a champ again this week.
Yeah.
Of course, Sarah, we talk about so much, and then Sunny. The fun that they have, the Desert Pines teacher, Miss Smith, ended their Saturday rehearsals early so that the rest of the cast could come and support Desert Pines.
Oh my God, Miss Smith, she gets it.
Right. So
wow.
It's Desert Pines has that feel and gave me all those feels, and LVA is just kind of just mind-boggling to me how different they all are and how they do so well together. So I was ready for this one. They opened the show with Grand Theft Auto, and oddly, maybe the only 2 teams that enjoy Grand Theft Auto in the league.
Right.
Coaches, if you have this conversation, will tell you that they're just not a fan of Grand Theft Auto, but LVA and
we're definitely not hyped.
Right. They find a way to make this game fun and enjoyable. And at one point I looked over at the judges and they were actually laughing at this game.
Sure.
If that is eye-opening to any of you, typically what happens is students like playing this game, especially if you're newer, a newer student, but coaches and older students just struggle with this game or just decide to move past this. But LVA and Desert Pines really like it. It's just, that's a game that they've played all year. And they did a really good opener. Like they opened this game solid. We had a great round of team choices with Fortune Teller and Survivor.
Thank you for playing Fortune Teller, kids. Thank you.
Desert Pines. At one point, Samantha Elton, who was one of the judges on this particular show, calls me over, and Sam wanted to get up because that's Sam's baby, is Fortune Teller. So Sam's like, "Are we allowed to get Sam? You be quiet. You sit there.
Come play with us in any other context as soon as you want."
Right. Exactly.
Please.
Got a dating app, a really strong dating app. I pulled Evan from Basic up to be the swiper, which of course added hilarity and weirdness.
Yay.
And then a battle. Sure. And then maybe the best battleship of the year is how this show closed. We got a bouncy house on one side and Harry Potter house on the other. And of course, in the bouncy house for Desert Pines, they make the choice to start off in the bouncy house jumping.
Sure.
And Thomas never stopped.
Whoa.
Just kept going. Sunny tried to hold on as long as she could. Thomas never stopped.
Wow.
I just couldn't believe it. And one of the words, ironically, was sweating. And that was one of the words that they did not get. And Thomas was definitely sweating.
Yeah.
The irony was amazing. And on the other side, man, did LVA just knock it out of the park with their Harry Potter, just how they created the scenes with the accents and conveniently found these words, and so good.
Wow.
And in this particular game, Desert Pines lost Haley right away. Haley was sunk before Haley got in.
Darn, I hate it when that happens.
I know, that's the risk you take when you play this game.
Yes, so true.
And then Elliot got sunk pretty quick in the beginning. So not right away. We got a little bit of Elliot, but then Elliot got sunk after that. And that's, of course, that is your risk. But really just awesome way to close this particular show. LVA did advance.
Woo!
LVA is moving on to next week.
LVA, historically, a team composed of natural performers, and they've got great improv coming out of that camp with all of their unlike minds. So exciting to know that you're advancing, because it's one of those schools that's built quite a legacy over the last several years, and it's nice to have them near the top of the group again. I can only imagine their eclectic bundle is going to have a lot of fun piecing together what they want to do next week as they get ready for the winner of our final matchup, which is only coincidentally my team, Del Sol, going head-to-head with Cheyenne. Cheyenne moved over from the West Coast to hang out with us on this side of the bracket, to give a little bit more potential contenders a breather over on the West side. There's so many of y'all, so talented. So bringing them over was great. And also, of course, they're kind of close on the map. We needed to balance this somehow. So bringing over Cheyenne for this matchup was an exciting opportunity to play some kids we haven't played in a long time, if at all. I don't remember last time Cheyenne and Del Sol would have had a matchup, but it was exciting on paper. Coach Miley and I had a lineup drawn together, and I honestly, not having been able to see a ton of Cheyenne this year, went in deciding to just play my 4 major seniors who've been putting in their work generally all year together. It was my first chance to actually get my most experienced students together, believe it or not, to put on some coherent and chemistry-filled improv. And if that's what I want to say is what I saw, I was really grateful to see Del Sol generate some chemistry. Bella, our MVP nominee, thank you for that nod, Kopy, one more time, was tasked this week with helping one of my favorite students of my last 4 years feel good about what they were putting out. That's all that mattered for us. We have
Warren's got favorites. Warren's got favorites.
Ouch.
I know that would sting if I said that.
That hurts so bad. I have no favorites. I have 30 kids, guys. If none of you guys get that, I have 30 kids who love this stuff so much, who've been growing. 15 of them new, 15 of them not. It's literally the hardest situation for a coach. How do I give everybody experiences? It was hard.
Warren's got favorite sports. That's what we're talking about, guys. You guys haven't understood anything we've talked about today.
That's true. Yeah.
He's a Trailblazers fan.
Yeah.
It's
true. I do like sports and wrestling, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you're right. Maybe I don't need to tell too much, but I have a kid on my camp named Speedy. I've known Speedy for 4 years. Speedy loves this stuff on the same level as Kopy does, and I do, and Roman does, and the folks who just breathe this stuff. He truly does. Speedy got his first playoff show in Pandemiprov, helping us get to our Final Four for the first time in a long time for Del Sol. Speedy cares and wanted this year to be great. I have this whole thing where I give students roles. Guys, I like making them presidents and vice presidents. Speedy's one of my 2 presidents, as is Ghost, who also performed in this show. Speedy cares so much, wanted this to go great, and Bella was there to help him have that time, and I think we did it. I think we had a great show. Max as my fourth is a great performer over in the theater program of Del Sol. He was Gaston, he was Dracula for our plays this year. I very rarely, guys, in case you can't tell, I very rarely get the leading students in the play to be in my improv camp, so that I've kind of fostered Max into being one of those leading dudes is a soft spot in my heart. So I was super excited to see him have this show today, and he injected just the right amount of physicality for us. Ghost approaches everything from a justification standpoint in the perfect way that we needed. Speedy and Bella made a great duo, especially with Bella being what she is, somebody who can take and digest and formulate things into a pattern that just makes sense with, as Kopy worded last week, just a side of funny. She is so easily able to twist something into a humorous direction. Grateful for what we did. Looking across the table, I'll just talk about both teams. Cheyenne is one of those groups of brains that will forever have so many different places they can go. They have so much creativity. Susan, as their focal point, is somebody I now recognize, having finally seen a show all the way through, as one of the most capable brains to find something we haven't seen before as well. Same as I've said about Aiden, or I've said about Margot. This is a student in the same vein who plucks something from absolutely anywhere. And we saw a lot of that. They had a day in the life telling an incredibly difficult story of one person's difficulties getting from the airport to the airport restroom, we'll just say. And there was one character, one human in that story for them to try to build. And there was so much creativity going into how the other three players added to that one human's tale and their difficulties, so much that they brought to that to try to put as much strength into that game, and succeeded. So many funny moments. Of course, Susan being the stomach from within, or the voice from within the stomach, was one of my favorite highlights. Just a real cool, quirky kid. We had a replay game that I was especially pleased to see. Our chemistry for my team definitely reigned true for us in that, but the Cheyenne kids came in and brought wonderful colors to their replays. We did it the horror one, but they had soap opera, which had me chuckling for that replay.
Soap opera and Harry Potter. I enjoyed the Harry Potter interpretation.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Good, solid game of replay. Maybe my favorite of the entire show for our two teams' efforts. But a strong 9 out of 10 from us too. You know, that was a game that Miley wanted to challenge us to. Not Del Sol's not a 9 out of 10 team, but Speedy's a 9 out of 10 kid. So they were hungry to prove we can play that. So thanks for the opportunity. And then our third head-to-head. Go ahead, Kopy. My brain.
Jeopardy.
Thanks, bud. Yeah, double Jeopardy. This was a Speedy call. He really wanted to find a team worthy to do it, and wanting to do it. Thank you, Cheyenne, for being open-minded to play it. We just wanted to try it, and we had a great time. Max and Speedy teaming up to be Pinocchio and a different type of puppet, Sacco, and Bella and Ghost teaming up to be this fun brother-sister duo who can't stand each other. Such a nice, natural relationship there. And Cheyenne's relationships as well had some memorable moments, right, Kopy? You want to fill in with the Jeopardies?
Yeah, the working at Ross couple.
Yes, that was great. Absolutely.
And then oddly, Jared Leto and what was it, Puff God? Is that what it was? That was the name, right? Puff God.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and you hit a lot of notes. In Jeopardy alone, really loved Ghost's status split. That was awesome from the Timothy and Chadler, whatever. That Ghost flip was awesome.
Smart choice.
So yeah, truly. Ghost, tip of the hat, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's not a whole lot more I want to give. In that day in the life scene from Cheyenne, I mean, you're absolutely right. Everything about that particular setup was what I try to avoid. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of funny to think about. So I try not to take scenes about pooping and going to the bathroom. That's definitely one. However,
I was trying to be subtle, Kopy.
Yeah, it kind of got a weird reaction from the crowd. It was like, really? That's what? Okay. And then I try and get scenes that don't only involve one person. That try and involve more people. But you guys did what you're supposed to do when you get what you got. And then I came in at the end just to help accentuate and have fun with it. Grace taking the lead initially, and that's kind of, I think, Grace's MO. Grace is a strong-willed.
I liked Grace today for sure.
Performer. So Grace taking the role of Linda was strong. I was happy with it, and yeah, Susan being the bowel movement.
Here I come.
Yeah.
There's more.
Jesus.
That whole climactic end was really well played, you guys. I chuckled the whole way through because I'm still a guy and I still like poop jokes. Darn it.
Missing sock and little voice, that 9 out of 10, how somehow we have Batman and orphans, so we just have so much Batman and orphans. and then replay, gotta give Ghost another shout out. You're just simple on the rock mermaid.
Yes.
In I don't know if anyone caught this, but Ghost's subtle hocus pocus humming song in the horror scene of replay.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone caught that, but I was like, oh, there it is. Like I was searching for the song, like in the computer when it was happening.
Such a clever choice. Very true. Very good. Yep.
So, well, go ahead.
All right, guys. Cheyenne, thank you for the show. It was a wonderful opportunity to play you. We as the Dragons Del Sol did move on to the next round in order to face LVA in a matchup that we can't wait for. But truly, Cheyenne, I'm grateful that we got to play with your perspectives. I thought Grace had a stellar show. Thank you very much for reminding me of that name, because I'm not Kopy. I can't remember them all the time. I really try. And Susan, I'm glad we get to have you back next year for some more Susanic fun. Cheyenne has got such a cool, again, distinct style of doing this stuff, and we're really glad we got to play with you. And now, guys, I'm on vacation. I'm taking the next week of coaching off because my leadership team, it's in their hands. I told you I got 2 presidents, Ghost and Speedy, and for the first time in my coaching career, I am going to accent them and help them pick their games as we go toe-to-toe with LVA next week, because I've got some coaches, young coaches on my team ready to lead it, and I'm so glad I don't have to pick who's playing anymore. It's so stressful because I want to make everybody happy. That's all I ever want to do. And you kids are going to make us happy next week with that matchup because LVA, supremely talented, tons of chemistry, great accents of physicality all over that team. And Del Sol, though we do have a lot of things to think about with 30 kids to choose from, I'm going to say about 10 I've been considering for playoffs. So we really don't know who we're putting out towards you guys, just letting you know. But we are excited for the games we've already selected to prepare for you. And gosh, Dragons and LVA, they're a natural rivalry. 2 performance academies who love to prove that they can perform. And we are ready. LVA's ready. This league's ready. Let's put some butts in them seats so we can have an incredible Elite 8 and a Final 4 next week at Desert Oasis High School, southwest side of town, finally getting some love. Woot, woot. Let's go ahead and enjoy what will be 4 exquisite shows to determine 8 teams, 4 shows. I got this. To determine who's going to play the final 2 shows of the day. Still got this. To determine who's going to the finals of High School Jesters Improv League's 13th season of competitions. We have just a couple more weeks, guys. Come on out, share the love, celebrate the fact that we were back in person this year, doing what we do best, helping students like you find stages like ours. So let's go do it. Get some fun. Week 3 of playoffs is next week at Desert Oasis. Please, the fun starts at 8. Come and join us. Put those pineys in the pineys and let's have some fun. Pineys are seeds, like they're made of wood. Anybody? No, Don't go. No. Yeah. Hey, we'll see you guys next week on Just a Recap when we talk about all the action, win, lose, or draw. It's been a blast. Thanks, Cope. And we'll see you guys next week on Just a Recap.